Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie. And can I talk about something? I want to talk about the new Sword Art Online game, Echoes of Aincrad. The game has been out for at least a couple weeks now, or possibly a month, depending when I'm releasing that of this video, to be honest. And there's already quite a bit of people have some strong and quite, not so flattering opinions about the game. With some people calling it the worst Sword Art Online game, or some even saying that it's not the Sword Art Online game that we were expecting or wanting, or even some calling it basically a Sword Art Online game that takes away everything that they enjoy about past Sword Art Online games. And that's the point. Now, let me make this directly clear about some of you people who are trying to hype up that of Echoes of Aincrad to be the greatest game of all time, and for those who are basically just pushing it down and saying that it's the worst Sword Art Online game of all time, I will tell you both outright. It's basically decent. If anything, it's better than that of the past Sword Art Online games. Yeah, however, there's one Sword Art Online game that will never be beaten at all, no matter what anyone says, and that is Fatal Bullet. Fatal Bullet is basically the true golden goose of an SAO game. That will never, ever be disputed. That is a goddamn fact. But we all need to basically bring the fact that Sword Art Online games are not going to be perfect. The developers even said it themselves that there wasn't going to be multiple floors throughout the game. And that's the number one thing a lot of people are complaining about. Look, I get it. You guys wanted more floors. You guys wanted to explore more of the area of that of SAO. Climb the floors to beat the game. Just unlike that of Kirito. But I want to talk about my opinions on that of the game. What I thought of that of this, series, to be honest. And personally, I won't lie. I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to hate on it or basically glaze it like crazy because, again, this game is a piece of work itself, but I will bring up the things that I did enjoy about it and the things I don't. So in a way, it's going to be similar to that of my previous SAO video. So just a bit of a heads up there. At any rate, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? First off, let me talk about that of the bad. Just to get it over with. This game takes away a lot of things that people liked in the SAO games. Like, for example, the best thing about the SAO games, in my personal opinion, is the combat. It will always be the combat. Chaining combos and sword skills together to deal that a maximum amount of damage is so badass, and I love doing it. There's never going to be a huge amount of rush when you basically deal so much damage to an enemy and wipe them off the map. But deciding to basically turn this into that of a Souls-based game, basically making it where you had to parry, dodge, and wait for the perfect opportunity to attack, it's not a bad idea, but it's kind of lazy. And I feel like the only reason they did it is because they still had assets and they wanted to put the developers of the Code Vein 2 still to work. And I think that's the only thing which is kind of stupid decision to do. Not to mention, another thing that I feel like a lot of people were turned off to the point of SAO, which in the games, the romance system. Or in other words, the, hangout system or sleepover system, whatever the hell you want to call it after all. The point is, people wanted to basically bring back the romance. Since we had like a whole new original cast and stuff like that, we kind of figured that we would basically be able to spend time with that of our party members, get to know them before that of SAO and all that. Know what it's like to be trapped in a death game and how they feel. Which we kind of do with that of certain story quests, but nothing romantic or basically, significant behind it. Just friendly banter and all that. And given that in past games, they basically give Kirito his huge amount of fucking harem, but yet, when it comes to us player characters, for the very first time being the full-on main focus, instead of Kirito being a secondary protagonist, we are given shit. And I kind of hate it. I get it that the developers didn't want to change anything huge within the story of SAO and focus on that of our players by doing a completely different story separate from that of the main series, well, being the Aincrad arc after all, but still, at least do a little bit of something of us interacting or basically influencing the story in some way or another. We're literally nothing but bystanders into that of the main story. And I think that's another reason why a lot of people hated that of Echoes of Aincrad 2. But by far, the number one reason why everyone is basically hopping off of Echoes of Aincrad and hating on it so much is the fact that there are only 2 floors on a 100 floor floating castle that's almost the size of a freaking continent. Yeah, you guys heard me right. Basically, the main reason why everyone hates this game, and even I can agree with them, is not having more floors. Is only having being on that of 2 floors. The first floor and the second floor, and that's it. And I can understand why everyone is pissed about that. Totally reasonable. When there are so many floors you can basically do, not to mention the fact that they're reusing or updating assets from the mobile game Indigo Factor after all. Oh, and we'll get into that later on in a bit. All it's done is basically make it seem like that of Echoes of Aincrad is a huge open world game. But in fact, it's basically going through that of certain levels and areas of the game by basically going to checkpoint after checkpoint after checkpoint to expand it to gain that of items. However, it's not open world. You can't just leave one area to just go to another area because you're basically stuck in that area until then. And once you arrive into that of a town of that specific floor, you can't roam around anywhere else. The fact is, you had to basically redo past missions if you want to basically get all the other chests and equipment for that area. Because all you are is basically stuck in one giant ass area only for that until the time of that quest or even you complete that quest is over. Which I can totally understand the reason why. Hell, Something Witty Entertainment has already made memes and jokes about the fact that there's a quest area limit after all. And even saying that, worst game, 1 out of 10, wouldn't play it a second time. But yeah, I can totally get why people don't want to give this game for multiple reasons, and they're totally valid. But let me explain what I think about the positives of this game, in my own opinion. Let's talk about that of the goods of Echoes of Aincrad. Now, don't get me wrong, this game is a mess. And just like I said, with that of all the things that are causing people to drop it. However, I'm looking from this from person who basically hates Sword Art Online, who kind of hates that of the characters already, and who already basically despises everything about that of its ideals that it brings up into the series and horribly ruins execution of it. I love the concept of SAO and the ideas that they try to bring up, but it's horribly executed. It's like DxD in my opinion. SAO is literally the DxD of isekais, but there are but the reasons why I like Echoes of Aincrad is the very reason why I feel like a lot of people also don't really bring up. And that is, you are the main player. Look, I know a lot of people hate the fact that there isn't really real player choice in this and they just give you the illusion of choice. I was expecting that from the very beginning because a lot of video games with character creators don't really have player choice anymore. Unless the character is already established and fleshed out already, player choice is meaningless nowadays. What I like is basically creating my own character and imagining how my own story is going. Imagine how my own playstyle is too, instead of how Kirito's story goes on. Oh, speaking of Kirito, can I talk about that of the worst isekai protagonist of all fucking time? Because I'm about to. Kirito is done better in this game than he is done in his own damn series. Yeah, I fucking said it, and I don't fucking regret it. The reason I say it is because in SAO, Kirito is already stated to be the best, the greatest, the best swordsman in all of SAO, the greatest beta tester in SAO, the one and only Beater. Oh god, that name still fucking sucks and cringy as hell. But the point is proven. Kirito never felt like a protagonist. He felt like he was written more as that of a safety net character, and a bad one at that. But even so, he just didn't feel like a main protagonist, or still, even to this day, he still doesn't feel like a main protagonist in my opinion. He feels like that of your typical safety net character, that like the overpowered character that protects the main cast and characters that you can always rely on to get shit done when the main character or the other characters can't do it themselves. And what I mean by safety net characters, I mean like characters like Kakashi, All Might, Head Captain Yamamoto, Gojo, and Makima. Characters you know you can rely on to protect everybody and that of themselves too. Now, and I know what some people are going to say, but Kirito is the main protagonist. Why would he be a safety net character? Again, ask Reki Karahara why he wrote him like a safety net character. And I know that there's a large majority of main protagonists that are basically written like safety net characters, but still feel like the main protagonists of the story. Like characters like Guts, Sun Jin Woo, Rimuru, and Arnos Vodago. Those are perfect examples of safety net characters, but are the main protagonists because they're well written as both the main protagonist and the safety net. Kirito is not a well-written protagonist. He just feels like a safety net character and acts more like a mentor in Echoes of Aincrad, and I kind of like that. Yep. Just like how he was a mentor in that of Fatal Bullet. He was a lot more bearable because of that. And the same for here. He's not the main focus. Your MC truly is the one and only main focus alongside Iori. And because of that, the story and characters feel a little bit more bearable and a lot more fleshed out. And I know a lot of people don't like the characters, but I honestly like this main cast a lot better than the original main cast, like that of Kirito, Asuna, Celica, and Lisbeth. Because in the main series, barely any of them get any screen time outside of Asuna, Klein, and Egil. Oh, and speaking of Egil, he even barely gets any screen time either in the main series, but he's mainly just there as Kirito's secondary best friend outside of Klein. Even Klein is barely even there to begin with, but that's beside the point. The point is, the main cast actually feel more fleshed out and more like characters and people than just characters there to just make Kirito look good syndrome. Oh god, I can't believe it. I've realized that so late until now. Another thing, the fact about that of Indigo Factor, they took a lot of lore from that of SAO Indigo Factor into that of this game, and I kind of like that, to be fair. Because the one thing about SAO that was really missing is the video game lore. I mean, this was a video game turned into a death game, and yet there was no in-game lore about the series until that of the mobile game and this game. Like, honestly, I won't lie, scattering around out of the area and seeing that of information, glyphs on there is kind of fun, actually. Reading about the in-game lore of Aincrad instead of just about that of Sword Art Online. Not to mention the fact that quests in the game actually give more depth to that of SAO than the actual series does in general. Like, there is literally no freaking, quests that the series actually goes on. And they talk about the quest, but Kirito never goes on these quests. Outside of one or two quests, that's it. It mainly focuses on that of the characters and boss fights. And the boss fights are even more fucking rare. In my only opinion, Echoes of Aincrad actually gives more depth to that of SAO main game and series in general than that of the actual main series is itself. You know it's bad if a video game that a lot of people don't like adds more lore and world building in your series than your very own original series does itself. And I know some of you want to say, oh, but that's what a side series is supposed to do. It's supposed to add more lore, not fix the lore. which this series literally fucking does. And that's kind of fucking bad. That's like Gundam Seed levels of bad when a spin-off series adds and basically fixes the lore of your own series instead of adding onto it instead. Speaking of, I also want to talk about that of the gameplay. I'm not going to talk about that of the map because honestly, no reason to basically talk about that of the floors because there's nothing good nor bad about that. I want to talk more about that of how the gameplay is kind of fun and addictive. It kind of makes you feel strong, especially if you play on story mode, which I'm not trying to basically have some overwhelming and basically try hard experience or get good experience. I just want to get through this game as soon as I can so I can make a story out of it on my YouTube channels, and that's it. But even so, it does feel addicting and kind of rewarding being an overpowered badass in a game where if you die in the game, you die for real. I like that. Add that with the death game mode, there's a lot more stakes behind it, and I appreciate that a lot more than people think. So yeah, so you gotta take what good you can with it. And that's it. Those are my opinions on that of Echoes of Aincrad. It's not perfect, but it's definitely not a, write-off as people thought it was. I still hope that the developers continue to support this game because I really do enjoy it with some parts of it, to be honest. And the number one part is Kirito is not the main character. That's my number one enjoyment out of this game. Because anything Kirito related pisses me the fuck off. It's like the same with that of fucking Kira Yamato. But I digressed. I've done what I needed to say, and I've said my piece. Anyone from Bandai that watches this, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. So, with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification key to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my main channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care.